Yeah, it's kind of refreshing moving away from creating signals to finding what kind of trades I'm really looking for and then grading them. So for me, as we all know, I'm the GAN trader. And so you have major GANs and minor GANs, um, secondary GANs, green ones. So, and as you can see, they're more like zones than they are more of a single line per se. It's more of a zone. Not always going to be perfect, of course, but you can see if you go back, today. Here I'm always grading. So, I mean, let's just kind of go to the open. Little jagged at the open, and then it broke down. I caught this little trade here, so because what I was looking for, prices below the GAN, below the EMA, below the VWAP, scalping from here right to here, and then you can see it just. Now this trade doesn't fit my style anymore. As you can see, price is going to kind of slice up and down the EMAs and VWAP, especially during the open. But you can see how you can still use that as a point of entry. So yeah, I'm not going to catch exotic bottoms per se. A lot of times I'll be looking for. I know I had to find a framework to work with, and so I just came up with the classic, using as an EMA filter. I don't always do both. I definitely like it when price is above the EMA and the VWAP and above again, so you can see how you could scalp. Because the other problem that I used to run into as a GAN trader, a million things can happen at the GAN level, and I needed to create structure. So as you can see, great scalps here, GAN to GAN. Yeah, at least this trading style, I'm going to miss this GAN to GAN down here. I just decided for now I can't be everywhere. So you can see there's plenty of real price action for getting points. But anyway, so nice GAN to GAN again. And then back in the day, I probably have been trying to short this. Um, but since I'm kind of using the 200 EMA as kind of a main filter, yeah, I'll miss some of these highs. That's just the way it goes. As we know, EMA is lagging. But anyway, it still gives you a good idea of what to do. And as you can see, really, the 368 was a pretty good pivot area, as it turns out. Because even if you're long here, you lose, long here, lose, that's fine. Prices break down, short here, like GAN to GAN. So again, that's kind of like an 8 trade below the VWAP, below the 200. You can see how price bounced off the GAN, like almost to the tick, and then you could say there could be a long here, shooting for the next GAN. So that's definitely a potential long right there. Then you can see how it ended up kind of a bull flag for a second. I remember I was practice trading this, and it felt like at the time, you know, it really felt like, man, we're going north, you know. And as soon this nice thing is being flexible, right as soon as price came down below, just because I knew this, this again, I just watching price action, I knew this was likely going to be a kind of a crucial structure level. And as it turned out, when it broke, the rest of the day it was just a great GAN. So basically you're entering below the 300 to 200, sorry, 200 VWAP, GAN to GAN, and then it just went all the way down. Not quite, not quite. Still, I mean, that's a lot. 1, 2, almost 3. And so, yeah, just kind of trailing this down. That was just an awesome trade. But nothing, just robotic, GAN level. I mean, I don't know what more simple you need to get an A setup. I mean, just as long as you have these three things. Now, it's not going to always work, but again, that's an A trade, which was a monster. Then overnight, just getting kind of caught up where we are now. I mean, look at this long B plus because the VWAP's up here. Otherwise, it's almost an A minus just because the gold is a major GAN. So you can see how GAN to the red line, and you can see how even if I mean, I love how you can scalp these things. Price is breaking above the VWAP, and again, you can scalp that a little bit. I don't overnight. I never. This does kind of go again, not quite, almost again. Overnight action. If I trade, I don't typically shoot GAN to GAN. If I get a nice trade, I'll take what I can get out of it, but not shooting like during the day. I'm looking for a really solid, maybe 2 GAN levels for sure, if not 1. But look at this overnight price action. If you're looking for your first setup here, this is a short here that either probably gets stopped out. And the nice thing is, I mean, okay, you wouldn't want to go long here, right? Because everything's below. So by the time it breaks above the EMA, that's not really an ideal. I mean, right? It's just not ideal. I like it to be everything more in line. Not saying you couldn't take that, but I definitely like this better when it comes down below the GAN and then with everything lined up. So that way, to me, this short makes a lot more sense than going along here. Even though, I mean, I'm not saying we are going to, anything can happen anytime. And we are, we're above the GAN, we're above the EMA and the VWAP. So it is valid to some degree. I just prefer it to have this. If I'm long, I like to have this underneath the GAN, so it's bouncing, shooting off of it. Kind of like how this is. We have everything above it here, and price comes down, and we have this GAN right here as our point to go short. And then if you miss that, you could try to catch the pullback. But either way, I like this short was pretty classic GAN move for the evening. So really, yeah, it's kind of nice just getting away from coding. Just I think I have 60 plus indicators, and really now focusing on my A, B setups, and really, the A setups are the ones you should be taking, right? But things aren't always going to be perfect and always line up perfectly. So to me, it's not really about looking for that perfect confluence that happens every time. It's nice when that all lines up. I'm not looking for perfection. I'm looking for probabilities. And when I have, GAN with everything lined up underneath, that's definitely, I feel like the probabilities, again, time and 10, after you do it so many times, I've been trading GAN for over a year now. Just adding in these filters is kind of like opened up a whole paradigm shift. Even though this has been around forever using the EMAs, I get that. But turning it into a strategy has really helped me a lot. Just focusing on how I can use, because for a long time, I struggled with, what is my A setup? What is my B setup? I mean, GANs have always been really powerful, and not that you can't use it in your own different ways. I mean, right? I mean, look at this long off in the morning here. Everything's up here, even like the EMAs and the VWAP. So obviously, if that's what's so cool about GANs, you can build a strategy where you're long here. It's just a great mean reversion trade right there, right? I just not going to catch that anymore right for now. It might change down the road. Um, I just like Confluence with the traditional. I just know a lot of the algos. I don't have stats on it, but I know the 200 EMA right is used by a lot of traders and algos. So I just like being long with that group. And anyway, and again, I just wanted to create structure just because it was just as good as it was. I was lacking kind of a focus. Now I can grade my trades the way I want it to, and it gives me kind of that. It just gives me a really good solid base of what I'm looking for. Because a lot of times, you always hear about people, once they learn a certain pattern, trading becomes easy. And I'm not quite there yet where it's trading. It is easy. And I think the skill of trading obviously isn't just setups. There's, the skill of trading is just, yeah, it's a balance of obviously you need something that you have confidence in, that you've back tested and you've put a lot of time into. But the skill of trading to me is almost more about the emotional side, how you handle, disappointing days, how do you handle, great days, how you not make, your good days, or just you can make trading our identity, right? So I think I've pretty much done the textbook of trading, of pretty much doing everything you possibly could do wrong, and I'm still finding ways to be wrong. It's like it's amazing how the market finds a way to. Yeah, there is just no weakness that it's not going to find. It's going to exploit you some way, right? I mean, one day, you're just not going to see things right, and it's going to, get you. And we already know the best way to help avoid that breakdown is just making sure we don't oversize and over leverage. So once we have, what we're, the skill side, and then we have the emotional side, all that's wrapped together into a beautiful um, symphony of what you're looking for, and I don't know, it changes everything once you have a really set guideline of what you're looking for. At least it has for me. I just was struggling for so long, even though I had these streaks of great days, but I always lacked some of the why. What was I doing in a way? I mean, I had bits and pieces of it. Of course, I'm still adding. This is what, second week, third week I've been doing this, and it's made everything so much easier. Yeah, I'm missing a lot of trades more. I'm definitely trading a lot less. I don't really have anxiety. I don't have the desire to just keep trading extra tools. I just I enjoy this kind of way of trading. It's kind of nice when you find what works for you. And that's the other beautiful part is, right. I know there'll be a lot of people in my Discord or in my whatever, use my indicators, or just people that I know, and they're like, "Oh, you're using a freaking EMA." Well, I get that. I fought that for a long time. I was like, I don't want to use an EMA, but just back testing and then just practicing and practicing, it's clicked. It just makes a lot of sense for me. So right, that's the weird thing is, like, again, I'm not just trading. That's the nice thing is I'm not just using the EMA, or it's not like a crossover. I don't view it like that, right? It's just a bias filter. That's to me. That's how I look at it, and just helps avoid some of those traps. Helps, and I think it again started. I think from Friday, right? Friday. I think I mentioned in the other video I did is that the market just kept going, and I kept fighting it, and I kept trying to figure out why was I doing that, right? The market is it's clear, like the market's going up, and then that's the thing with Gann. Gann gives you these great levels, and so sometimes it gets tempting to catch some of these exotic moves. And I now realize I don't need to. I just wait for my confirmation, and take my favorite trades and be done. So yeah, but here I am, yammering away at midnight or so. But anyway, just wanted to make quite a quick video about my latest progression. Yeah, I know things have gone quiet with my Discord and the training group. I get it. I've done a million things with server side indicators and tons of back testing and just I don't know. There's a lot of missing pieces that wasn't working for me. So this is a more of a peaceful way for me to work without now. Yeah, I don't really need to build anything. I guess I've enhanced the compass indicator. I've made these zones better, but yeah, I'm really at peace with what I have, and I love using it every day. So anyway, just a long video here, and I'll see you guys tomorrow, or I guess I should say later today, almost basically later.